The day the Zorothian fleet descended upon Earth, Commander Valthorn sat in his command chair, a throne shaped from his homeworld's crystalline rock, polished to perfection. It was a throne where he could survey the vast array of his warships, each a sleek embodiment of Zorothian ingenuity. Valthorn's green skin glistened in the dim light of the control room, and his 6 eyes, each independently scanning the holographic table before him, were filled with a mix of confidence and scorn. Render unto the humans he commanded, his voice smooth and deep, echoing off the polished walls. Their feeble attempts at resistance amuse me. Show me their pathetic tactics. The technician at the tactical console, a Zorothian named Navax, turned his head to Valthorn, shifting his frill-tipped antennae in uncertainty. Commander, their strategy is unconventional and unpredictable. We mustn't underestimate them. No, Valthorn laughed, a sound that resonated like the chime of metal against metal. By all means, let's indulge in their little tricks. Watch as they scatter before our might. Meanwhile, on a scorched hill overlooking the valley, Captain Lena Torres peered through her binoculars, her brow furrowing. She could see the shadows of the Zorothian ships above, their sleek, terrifying silhouettes blotting out the morning sun. They're coming in too fast, she muttered to Max, her second-in-command, who stood beside her, adjusting a laser generator strapped to his back. Just a little wipe to their sensors will do, Max replied with a grin, his brown hair fluttering in the wind. Can't let them see what's coming for them. Lena couldn't help but smile. Max's unwavering optimism was infectious, even as nerves danced in her stomach. You really think they're not going to see the trap we've set? Let them laugh, he said, squinting at the encroaching fleet. It'll make it all the sweeter when we show them how Earth fights back. Formulating a plan was second nature to Lena. Years of experience in the military had taught her unpredictability was humanity's best weapon. She could remember the briefing the calculated ridicule Valthorn had rained upon Earth's pathetic defenses. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of winning this easily. Okay, on my command, we take out their front line. Make sure they think we're weak, Lena instructed, her tone sharp and clear. Then we'll box them in with the electromagnetic pulses. They think they can just roll over us? Not today. As Lena relayed the details to her small contingent of soldiers, she remembered the faces of those they had lost in previous skirmishes. Those losses fueled her anger, making her resolve even stronger. Defiance stirred within her. Humanity was far from helpless. There they are. Do you see that? Max exclaimed suddenly, pointing towards the sky. The metal behemoths were coming in lower now, all sleek lines and ominous shapes slashing against the cerulean canvas of the sky. Then Valthorn barked orders that echoed like a thunderous wave. His soldiers moved as one, stern and focused. His laughter still echoed in his mind. How simple it was to crush the humans. Commander Navax's voice broke through the laughter, urgency creeping in. Their ships are arming. It looks different. Valthorn felt a chill, a sentiment he rarely permitted. Prepare the defenses. This is merely a distraction. A sudden flash illuminated his command deck. The humans had unleashed their trap, a series of hidden pulse bursts that ripped through space, sending shockwaves across the Zorothian fleet. Console alarms blared, and Valthorn's heart raced as chaos erupted around him. What is happening? He roared, the confidence in his tone replaced by shock. Ships began to veer, their navigation systems temporarily blinded. Commander. Multiple energy signatures detected. They've breached our line. Navax's voice was frantic now, a tone the commander had never heard before. Lena watched from her position as Zorothian vessels collided, layers of metal exploding outward, swirling debris filling the air. Humanity's tricks had worked. She turned to Max, a wild look in her eyes. Now, fire the main payload. As her forces unleashed a fierce volley, Valthorn stammered in disbelief, the laughter snatched from his lips like a phantom. The oncoming swarm of projectiles met ships mid-air, their once organized formation collapsing into a tumult of twisting metal and engorged flames. Suddenly, it was Valthorn who was surrounded by chaos, the hum of his indomitable will drowned out by defeat. Reinforce the defensive line, he shouted, eyes blazing with incredible ire. Nothing had prepared him for the ferocity of human cunning unleashed before him. From the hill, Lena felt a surge in her heart. They weren't defeated, they were resilient. With calculated risks and clever thinking, the humans were changing the course of battle, and Valthorn's grand plans had taken an unexpected nosedive. Victory was within reach, and maybe as the alien commander turned to assess the destruction, the tide was beginning to turn in humanity's favor. The trap had closed, and the Zorothian commander finally understood that underestimating the humans had been his gravest mistake. With that realization came the undeniable truth: their laughter was about to fade. As the first burst of engagement subsided, Lena could hardly contain her exhilaration. The Zorothian fleet had been disorganized, flailing amid the chaos her crew had orchestrated. She exchanged glances with Max, a fiery spark of adrenaline igniting between them. They had acted quickly, intelligently, turning raw military might into a strategic disadvantage that the alien commander couldn't ignore. "Captain?" Their regrouping, a voice shouted, pulling her back into focus. It was Sarah, Lieutenant of Communications, her tense posture betraying her unease. "They're adapting to our patterns faster than anticipated." "Of course they are," Lena replied, her brow knitting for a moment. The Zorothian forces were advanced, trained in the art of war in a volatile galaxy. But that's what they wouldn't expect from us: our ability to adapt on our feet. We can't relent now. Max nodded, biting his lip as he observed the tactical display. "I see they're clustering their ships. They want to help each other recover from damage." His voice was steady, but there was a hint of urgency. "Let's exploit that." "Fission bombs," Lena commanded. "We're not just going to disable their vessels, we're going to splinter their cohesion." She turned to Sarah. "Send fire coordinates to the bomb teams and prepare a secondary diversion. We'll draw their attention away, then hit them where it hurts." Right away, Captain Sarah's fingers danced across her console as she relayed the orders. Lena felt the weight of command settle upon her, but for the first time it felt empowering rather than suffocating. She caught Max's eye again, sharing an understanding forged through years of training and struggle. Meanwhile, Commander Valthorn stood amidst his command center, his heart pounding behind his every thought. The humans. They were feeding off their unexpected success, rallying their forces with ingenuity he had underestimated. It went beyond tactics, it was their folly and their strength, an interwoven heritage of determination resonating through every last one of them. "Reinforce the adaptive shield units," Valthorn demanded, slapping his crystalline throne. "We must not allow another explosion to disrupt our cohesion. They are a mere nuisance, and we shall show them that their courage leads only to their demise." Navax hesitated for a moment, a troubled look crossing his face. "Commander, their artillery is directly engaged with our clustering tactics. We must separate our units to avoid consecutive losses. More ships are falling into their trap." "This is no time for shrinking," Valthorn roared, his voice resonating off the walls. The flames of anger conspired with disbelief, his instincts battling against the truth behind his subordinate's words. "Engage all remaining vessels. We finish this now." Back on the hill, Lena and her team maneuvered into position. They had avoided direct confrontation thus far, relying instead on tactical excellence. They would outwit their opponents instead of outfight them, but as the reality of warfare pressed heavily on them, she knew instinctively that facing the Zorothians toe-to-toe would become inevitable soon. "Captain, incoming!" Sarah shouted once more. Lena trained her sights on the chaotic battlefield. Zorothian ships were spinning wildly. Someone had heeded her strategy after all. But they weren't going down easily. The remaining vessels roared to life, their weapons priming to unleash a flurry of fire. "Hold," Lena commanded, gritting her teeth. "Wait for it, wait. Now." The moment was electric. Even thrusting against her instincts, Lena remained resolute, waiting until the Zorothians aimed a direct course. When the enemy ships released a surge of energy blasts, she shouted, "Now! Detonate!" In a cacophony of explosions, fission bombs erupted gloriously across the sky, breaking their clustering formations into fragments of brilliance. The Zorothians, enveloped in a blinding spectacle, faltered, their fire directed into the void of space. Moments later, more of their ships crumpled beneath the weights of failing technology, the canvas of death swirling around, debris scattered like stars lost in void. The ground beneath Lena's feet trembled, but her heart soared. Yet, even with their stunning victory, a thought flickered in her mind: the fight was far from over. This had merely ignited the Zorothian anger toward humanity, and she knew Valthorn would retaliate fiercely. "Captain, we have numerous casualties on their ships." "It's chaos," Max's voice rang, a mix of exhilaration and caution. "But we can't keep this up. We have to pull back some units. It's beginning to wear on our resources." Her heart sank at his words, but they resonated deeply. She shook her head. "We keep pressing forward. We are not fighting for losses, but for resistance. If we waver now, we offer them a chance to regroup." The battle rhythm quickened, shifting with every heartbeat. Lena sent her ordered adjustments, each conveyance reflecting her growing understanding of command. The gravity of their situation began to set through the ranks. Even though her people were emboldened, their vigor waned as the Zorothian reserve surged relentlessly forward. In a turn of fate, Valthorn recalibrated, redefining strategy by using the chaos as a living shield. He would force the humans into a position of direct engagement, extracting the very life from their exhilaration. Send the incoming fighters to flank their base. It is time we snuff out their false hope, he commanded, brow furrowed with fury yet driven by intense determination. When the dwindling human task force caught glimmers of their imminent destruction, a chill coursed through Lena. She turned again to Max. We can't let them up our rear. If they break our lines, it's over. Feeling the stakes escalate higher, forces collided. As Zorothians penetrated the Earth units, Lena ignited new sparks of ingenuity. Reinforce the front lines. We'll entrain our fighter jets for diversion maneuvers. Buy us time to recalibrate our defenses. Sacrifices must be made. With their commands set, Lena slipped into a rhythm, balancing risk with creativity as waves crashed amid cries of war. Returned instincts kicked in. She saw cracks in the Zorothian approach, how their shifts left them vulnerable. Now Lena rallied her team with a fierce yell, her heart racing in sync with the thunderous explosions that ensued. They were not defined by overwhelming force, but by the gravity of their spirit and the shared bonds stretching across her soldiers as they fought together. I can't lose any more of you, she murmured amid the clamor, head lifting momentarily to the chaos swirling around them. We are humanity's light. Let us not falter. Fueled by an unyielding need for survival, hope intertwined through their grasp, yet looming burdens weighed heavily on them. With every engagement with the Zorothian horde, they propelled the stakes toward an irrefutable desperation. Commander Valthorn seethed, watching as his forces gradually lost their might, a comedy of errors he had dismissed, now raw and exposed under the weight of defeat. Victory slipped steadily from his grasp, a cruel twist of fate. But even as the Zorothian commander plotted counterattacks, uncertainty gnawed at his confidence. The warriors remained fierce. The strength of the humans ignited an ember of doubt within him. This was not just another planet. This was a catalyst for change, a force worthy of respect. And in that pursuit, somewhere between laughter and impending derision, they dared to redefine the very nature of conquest, battling through a storm meant to extinguish their light. As the battlefield roared beneath them, laughter faded, supplanted by echoes of tenacity, resolve, and humanity's hard-fought resolve, tension unfurling toward an inevitable confrontation that would finally determine the victor. Chaos reigned across the battlefield. The skies crackled with the remnants of engaged energy fields, the blurs of crimson and blue conversions illuminating the dust clouds that swirled around the Zorothian fleet. Lena Torres felt the apprehensive heartbeat of her soldiers standing firm behind her, tempered only by the resolute fire gleaming in their eyes. The Zorothians had begun to rally, and Valthorn's chilling determination was a sharp reminder of how close they were to losing everything. Through the din of battle, Lena scanned the horizon, the plume of smoke rising from a recent Zorothian ship that had shattered into pieces. That victory had been theirs, but tenacity was a double-edged sword. A glimpse of Valthorn inside his command ship, grim and fierce, struck her like a lightning bolt. They wouldn't savor their triumph for long. As long as he remained defiant, the fight would continue. Captain, they're regrouping. Valthorn's orders have shifted, she heard Max yell over the commotion, his voice laced with urgency. He could feel the weight of command, the pressure bearing down on the entire squadron. Reinforce the eastern flank, synchronize payload status with missile systems, Lena ordered decisively. Let's give them something they truly won't anticipate. Their inexhaustible efforts of subterfuge had caught the Zorothians by surprise, and she was determined to press on. The Zorothian forces, despite their disarray, fought with an unyielding spirit. Lena felt them edging closer. Valthorn had changed tactics, remembering his desire for vengeance. Nina, a seasoned sharpshooter at the edge of their unit, called out, "We need to buy more time. They're almost at the ridge. Prepare the decoy drones. Show them the same illusion they fell for before." Lena directed, her voice steady. "We'll plant them strategically to divert their attention while our artillery systems reload." Max nodded and swiftly relayed the commands. Time was too precious to waste, and Lena could already see the web of infection spreading across the alien formations. The pulse bombs may have weakened the momentum, but the core of their strategy rested in turning their every doubt against them. As the soldiers worked as a coordinated unit, Lena took a moment to catch her breath. Inside, nerves tangled with adrenaline. She had confidence in her crew, but could they withstand the challenges converging upon them? Hang in there, team, she muttered to herself, the urgency growing tenfold. Valthorn would not be so easily outmaneuvered, and beneath the resolve lay the unmistakable reality they wouldn't just be fighting for survival, they fought to change their relationship with the stars. Moments passed filled with high-pitched pulses and deafening crashes, the ground around them rendering into a seat of displacement. They were indeed outnumbered, but desperation can spark creativity. Captain, ready for the drone deployment, called Sarah, her face illuminated by the screens around her. Lena turned, taking a steadying breath despite the swirling pandemonium. Activate them on my mark now, Lena shouted, and as she finished her command, a swarm of stealth drones ascended, a menagerie of human ingenuity manifesting into the air. They flickered red and blue and moved through the skies like lost constellations lured by a night sun. The resulting confusion was immediate. Zorothians veered to confront the illusions, their energy blasts lighting up the drones with momentary flashes that formed a temporary distraction. Lena watched as their formation became more chaotic, divided by uncertainty. Have they learned nothing? She chuckled softly, the words tinged with an air of disbelief. An optical illusion had become a pivotal catalyst, embodying the power of human creativity to turn a moment against overwhelming force. Captain Max cried, pointing urgently at the monitors. Now's our chance. They're wide open on the flanks. Set coordinates, Lena exclaimed, determination coursing through her veins. Manual override on wide dispersion. Ensure the missiles can follow through errantly into their main line. Victory seemed just within her grasp, yet there again emerged a flicker of doubt from deep within. She had already witnessed the malice of an alien commander keen to upend her plan. When she turned to study Valthorn again, she could see fury simmering in the shadows of his command center. He would retaliate soon enough. The order sent tremors reverberating through her, each command spurred with creativity, bridging the gap between mere survival and definitive victory. Time unraveled, slowing to an agonizing crawl, each moment feeling pregnant with possibility. Then, the command channels flickered to life, artillery units hummed, coordinates locked, and Lena felt the surge of anticipation weighty on her chest. Fire, she commanded, the word ringing out across the tumultuous battlefield like a clarion call to her soldiers. As squadrons erupted from the ground, their payloads soaring toward the Zorothian ranks, Lena's heart pounded with every missile released. They arced through the air like shooting stars, their explosion illuminating the battlefield in indescribable ferocity. The spectacle tore apart the fabric of the Zorothian unity. Fragments of alien vessels collided as chaos ensued, each explosion cascading into a visible manifestation of frustration and vulnerability. And yet, amidst the tumult, the echoes of Valthorn's laughter haunted her memories. She prayed it wouldn't be the last sound she would hear. Captain. Look, Max exclaimed, pulling her from contemplation. The screens parsed out frames of Zorothians scrambling, their formations fracturing as every new explosion carved deeper pathways of impending defeat. We'll push forward. They won't anticipate a direct assault if we're able to exploit their weaknesses, Lena shouted. No longer contemplating the price of the battle, the intoxicating rush of resilience echoed louder. As she signaled the advance, Lena felt the inaugural surge of hope ripple through her ranks. Soldiers became emboldened. The promise of defiance fueled the fires of their resilience. The tides had genuinely begun to shift. The Zorothians appeared to struggle against the sheer voltage of humor and unpredictability radiating from the humans. As her charges surged forward, Lena did not permit her foot to waver. The Zorothians were overwhelmed. They had taken the bait too early, dancing right into her grasps. But where dread lurked, safety often strove to reassure. Valthorn still held tenacity within his core. He was endurance bound by pride, his voice ringing out like thunder amidst the chaos of destruction. Regroup. We will not yield to this madness. Show them what true strength means. Clenching her fists, Lena felt the injection of focus amid the swirling maelstrom. If they could just hold the line a little longer, they could complete the mission together. Push forward, yelled Lena, raising her weapon as the remnants of Zorothians struggled to adapt. Let them see what we are made of. As they pressed forth between shots fired and energy shields battered, Lena honed in on the main command ship, the object of Valthorn's defiance and the focal point of their directive, and rallied the troops around her. Max. We'll cut through their advance, we'll make for Valthorn himself. To the ship. Rallying cries surged as the remnants of her team rallied, a determined throng pushing toward the heart of the Zorothian warship. Nova, Sarah, hold the flank. We can't allow them to regroup from the rear. Chaos arose, charged forward by uncertainty. Lena felt the energy shift alongside their own confidence, exhilaration transmuted into patrol. A steady resolve forged through camaraderie. They carried the essence of humanity into battle, not solely their strength, but the innate resilience tinged within their laughter. As they broke through the outer defenses, sucked into the heart of the alien command ship, Lena and Max burst through the doors, weapons raised. There, amongst the shadows of the Grand Chamber, Commander Valthorn stood stoic by a translucent console, analyzing the chaos unfurling before him. He turned, his expression a deadly blend of incredulity and disdain. You think your tricks will work on us forever? You are mere pawns, incapable of true strength. My army will never fall to your petty games. Lena stood tall, adrenaline coursing through her. You misunderstand our nature, Commander. Underestimating humanity has been your downfall, she shouted, firm and unyielding, embodying every resilient soldier at her back. It's not about brute force, it's about adaptability and ingenuity. We fight differently. Valthorn laughed then, the sound echoing in the stillness around them but devoid of confidence. Ha! You think you know me? You humans are nothing but fleeting sparks extinguished in time. We are inheritors of strength, rulers of the cosmos. His bravado faltered when a dull thud resounded through the ship. Valthorn glanced toward the main pane, horror dawning along his face as he registered the 100 scattered signals of his ship falling one by one. His army was dwindling. Your bravado means nothing, Lena roared. This world belongs to the resilient, all those you've terrorized. You'll learn today that we fight together, and that's where our strength emerges. She tightened her grip, readying herself as Valthorn's fury tore through the core of his agony. As they squared off, Lena found in this moment the core of humanity itself, lingering doubts transformed into clarity, forging a bond more powerful than the bruised spirits of war. Valthorn cast an unsettling glance at her passion, the depths of his confidence eroding before her. It was as though the essence of his own arrogance inflicted rebuke upon him. Arrogance, he said, his voice a whisper of realization. Perhaps. Enough, yelled Lena, cutting through his doubt with a resolve that caught him off guard. You have underestimated the humans and our capacity for growth. It is past time you learned your lesson, Commander. The flight of humanity surged beneath the friction of their standoff, Valthorn's very essence recoiling as old narratives of power transformed into acceptance beneath wrath. Defeat stirred uncertainly in the shadows of his lofty ideals. Behind her, the cries of her comrades rang forth, the remnants of the Zorothian fleet spiraling into oblivion, each act of resilience contrasting Valthorn's lingering defiance. Lena raised her weapon, eyes blazing with zeal. Today we end this, Lena declared. You will not conquer Earth, we will establish our own course. He hesitated, vulnerability creeping in as the remnants of his forces collapsed against the tenacity of humanity's unity. No, I will not let you, he cried, but the sound grew rasping, overtaken by the ghosts of regret that swirled around them. Yes, they countered in a chorus, an impossible harmony born of perseverance merging innate instinct with adaptable ingenuity. Lena shot a surge of electricity, shocked the console behind Valthorn, bathing the room in an ethereal glow. For a fleeting instant, she saw the flicker of transformation in his eyes, the dawning of understanding amid chaos. Perhaps. I see now, he murmured, consciousness shifting beneath confrontation. Your laughter has dimmed my strength. Perhaps if you desire peace, we may yet find a path together. In that moment of recognition, Lena felt the tides shift beneath her clean resolve, the weight of laughter echoing across the abyss, a flavor of tenuous hope settling between them. Then, let us begin anew. As she guided him through the wreckage wrought by shells of war, humanity breathed life once more into the stars above, unbroken and willing to embrace both the laughter and the lessons learned through strife. The ultimate result was far more powerful than mere survival. It redefined existence itself, breathing hope and unity between the once absent partners in conflict. An understanding bore fruit, their fates entwined beneath a boundless cosmos. And so began their story anew, beneath skies alive in laughter, inseparable in pursuit of a destiny that transcended the boundaries of laughter and light, one shared between the brushstrokes of intergalactic kin.